Alright, NDTV along with the Fortis Group is launching a campaign for a healthier India, the Fortis Health4U Campaign, as we find more and more Indians affected by heart disease and lifestyle ailments. Now, major focus of the campaign will be on heart health and cardiovascular diseases. Heart attacks are catching Indians younger than ever before, and despite information and technology overload, the average educated Indian is shockingly ill-informed about basic health care. As you can see, Deepika Padukone there at the launch of this campaign. She will be the face of the campaign. The need of the hour is to provide affordable and cost-effective solutions to manage the largest silent epidemic in the country. And during the course of this series, we will be highlighting congenital coronary heart disease in India, especially in women and children. Now, it's women who tend to underestimate their personal risk of heart disease, and we will be bringing you stories that will help you be better informed and not ignore those routine checkups that most people do. And from heart transplants to innovations to medical tourism, the series will showcase all the news you need to know about this. So NDTV all set with the Fortis Health4U campaign. Another focus of the campaign will be on the importance of having a public that is trained in CPR and first aid. It is documented that receiving basic life support in the critical first minutes after a heart attack can mean all the difference between life and death. In India, a country where heart disease is fast becoming an epidemic and ambulance response times are significantly longer than the ideal, the basic skill assumes even more importance. So it's extremely important that everyone should know the very basics of CPR and how to respond to someone who you feel is getting a heart attack, because those first few minutes can be extremely crucial. And during the course of this campaign, that is the information we will be bringing to you. Those are the reports we'll be bringing to you, as we have found that even though more and more Indians are educated, they're shockingly ill-informed about the basics of healthcare and the basics of how to respond to an emergency situation. And we found that heart attacks are catching Indians younger than ever before. So the need of the hour is to provide affordable and cost-effective solutions to manage this largest silent epidemic in the country. And we'll also talk about women's health, because that is an issue that is often ignored, women putting family and other issues above themselves. But regular checkups, routine checkups is the need of the hour, and we will bring you reports of how women can take better care of their health. So the Fortis Health4U campaign is a call for action that will help to make a change, making our public better informed and well-informed decision for life. Let's go across to where Vikram Chandra is all set to launch the campaign.
Special event which is launching a very important campaign.
But thank you for giving me such...
It really affects your health. It affects every single person's health, and this is a campaign that you need to keep following, you need to be part of, because quite literally it could save your life. And this is the NDTV-Fortis Health4U campaign that we are kicking off out here right now, and we're going to be taking you through over the next period of a few months, lots and lots of things to do with your health and how they can become really important. Now, it has particularly become notable in the recent times that the infectious diseases which once used to kill a lot of people aren't quite that much anymore. They aren't as dangerous, or if they are as dangerous, at least there are some solutions for them. But in a number of other places, lifestyle diseases and others, they are continuing to be out there, and they are becoming bigger killers than ever. So I want to first start off by welcoming Malvinder and Shivinder of Fortis, who are our partners in this entire exercise. Thank you both so much for being with us and for partnering with us in bringing this campaign to everybody. And Deepika Padukone, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And on a big day for you as well, finding released, and it's getting great response. So congratulations for that. And we'll be delighted to have your views. Prannoy, of course, well, you know, Prannoy, it's great to have you with us.
But actually, I am just dying to see this movie, because I've seen the trailers. It's fantastic. Really looks fantastic.
So we're all waiting.
Huge hit. Yeah.
We're all waiting for it. Also with us here on the dais, we have Padma Shri Dr. Ashok Seth, who's the chairman of the Fortis Escort Heart Institute, noted cardiologist, and we also have with us Dr. Vivek Javali, who's the chairman of the Cardiovascular Science and Medical Advisory Council at Fortis in Bangalore. And it's also a pleasure to have with us Vivek Phansarkar, who's the Joint Commissioner of the Mumbai Police, who's sitting up with us here, and is going to be talking about how in some of the more active professions, we can figure out how to stay healthy and remain healthy as well. We also have with us a great number of case studies whom we are going to go to. Their stories have a very powerful message for all of us and for our health, including changes that they've made in their lives, including concerns that they've had in their lives. And from hearing from all of them, we will, I guess, get many important lessons for ourselves. But Malvinder, why don't I start off with you first? A campaign on health, why is it important?
I think today, and I would say especially in India, we're all very used to taking our health for granted. When we look at health, when we look at hospitals and healthcare, we primarily look at them as areas when we are sick, when we need to go for treatment. So really, we are in the business of treating sick people and engaging with you in times of sickness. For Indians, over the next many years, 75% of diseases are going to be emanating out of non-communicable diseases. And that is going to increase because of development of the nation, because of our lifestyles, because of our hectic schedules, and the jobs and the way we run our daily lives. It's extremely important for us to start focusing on our health, to focus on prevention, to make sure that our health becomes the most important focused area for ourselves, because only when we are healthy can we be active, can we be productive, can we actually go out and enjoy and do what you wish to do with your families, with your friends, and at work. So I think it's very important we recognize and understand that we need to move from sickness to wellness, from treatment to prevention. And this whole aspect about prevention, about staying healthy, about living healthy, about being able to eat right, exercise, is very, very critical. And I'll just end by one point. All you need to do is to walk 30 minutes a day. And by doing so, you would be able to reduce the risk of diabetes by 50%. And I can tell you, India today is the global capital of cardiac diseases, of diabetes, and also of oncology. And therefore, for us as a nation, if we wish to grow, if we wish to be a healthy nation, we must be able to be healthy citizens.
Right, Navinder, those are really important lessons in that half an hour walk. Deepika, now you obviously perhaps have grown up with it, right? You're from a sporting background, so some of those lessons must be ingrained in you by now.
Absolutely, and I think we pay so much to enroll in a gym and to get the fanciest trainers, but it actually begins with us, and it begins in the most simplest way. If you live in a building, take the stairs. If you're at an airport, use the stairs. Don't use the escalator. Walk up and down the stairs. If you live 15-20 minutes away from your workplace, you can walk to your workplace. I think we've made our lives more complicated than we should. It's very, very important for us to take that 1 hour for ourselves. It's not being selfish. And being a woman, I want to say that to all the women out there specifically, it's okay to not tend to your children or to your husband or to your work for just that 1 hour for yourself. Keep that time for yourself every day, whether it's in the morning or in the evening. Do a little bit of yoga, or even like he said, just 30 minutes is all you need to just keep your heart going, and it makes a difference to not just the way you look or the way it makes a difference to the way you feel. And I think that kind of shows in your aura as well. You carry this positive energy with you when you're feeling good about yourself. I think we also underestimate the power of sleep. I think the youth especially, I think we've all started compromising on sleep. Something as basic as that. We don't realize how important drinking water is. So it's these little things, I think the changes that we can make in our lifestyle that will make a huge difference to our overall well-being.
Okay, the sleep part is slightly touchy because it was 3:30 in the morning yesterday when I last slept. We're going to be speaking to Dr. Harshvardhan in just a couple of minutes, the Minister for Health and Family Welfare. But But Shivinder, another important part of it obviously is preventive health and preventive health checkups, and that's something which I remember you promising 4 years ago. You looked at me and said this is something which must be done every single year. I don't know if you're actually keeping to that schedule.
Well, you looked at him and said he needs preventive health checkup?
No, we promised each other we'd do it every year for the last 4 years.
Deepika just talked about sleep. He hasn't slept all night last night, so I think it just proves the point. But I think, Vikram, to your point, I think preventive, certainly being in the business for the last 15 years, I think one of the things that we've seen, and maybe the docs can kind of elaborate on that, is that cure can only take you that far back to where you were. But if you're able to prevent yourself and do the right stuff, it can keep you healthy, and there's nothing more than that. And I think as a country today, we as citizens don't actually take too much interest in that space. And I think therefore these kind of platforms and programs are very, very important for us as a nation and also as an individual. I think we have to get to the point of saying that my health is my responsibility. And cardiac, for some reason, the heart is something which is much, much more emotive to us as individuals than any other organ. But both the advice that Malvinder and Deepika gave actually help us actually staying preventive on a full body basis, which is very, very critical. Because the impact of that, if you have a cardiac heart attack or you have a stroke or whatever, getting back to normal lifestyle is actually virtually impossible. Wait a minute. One sec. One person just died of cardiac disease. Every second in this country, one person dies of cardiac disease. 1 second. 2 seconds, and one person is born with a congenital heart disease. In our country, this problem is epidemic. Every second a person, and every second literally a person dies of a heart attack. And the unfortunate part in our country is that 80% of these are preventable if either done preventive care or done early diagnosis. And we don't do that either which way. And the way I see it, being in the other side of the spectrum, is that we are often seen taking care more of our cars than we take care of our bodies.
Yeah.
Even if a car has a little chink in the noise or the gas is low, we go straight to the workshop. But our body has chinks all the time. We don't do anything about that. So I think it's a function of changing our own mindset and saying that this is important for me. And I have to do that first before I can do any other service or responsibility for anybody else.
All right, that's well put. Pranay, can I just get you in on this, because you've been a sportsman yourself, you know, boxing captain, etc., and you actually do keep up with needing to get some exercise almost on a daily basis, which is something which all of us admire hugely, by the way.
I'm sure you do as well.
I wish I did, but I don't.
I think the key point is you work much too hard.
I was
So
hoping
you don't
you'd
find
say
the time.
I was hoping you'd say that. I was hoping you'd say that, but no.
No, but seriously, I think we were a different generation where when we were like this young man's age, it wasn't in our consciousness. So while we did sports at school and then we just relaxed, you degenerate very fast. So we had to rebuild once the consciousness came. And I'll give you an example. Vijay here operated on my closest friend in life. He actually he's known as, nickname is Tuffy. So he thought, you know, I don't need doctors, I don't need medicines, I don't need nothing. And he's had a family of diabetes, and he had five blockages, right? Suddenly, out of the blue. And what happened was that after he had this brilliant operation, he's as fit as anything. He exercises twice a day for 45 minutes each. He's fitter than he's ever been. But don't wait to have a heart attack to realize that you need to be fit. I think that's number one. And number two, what I've learned, the key to exercising for your heart is your target heart rate. Everything else goes secondary to that, in my opinion, and I'm saying this in front of experts here. But you should monitor your heart rate when you're exercising for two reasons. One is you don't want it to go too high. So it's 220 minus your age and 85% of that. And you don't want it to go too low either, because you don't want to be slacking. So the key to exercise for cardiac, in my humble opinion, is target your heart rate. So you don't slack and you don't overdo it. And don't wait to get ill before you get fit.
All right, so those are some of the things that you all need to keep in mind, and it's really the heart that we are focusing on today. We'll be looking at other areas also, but let me just turn to the Joint Commissioner. Sir, let's take the police force, for example. We're looking at professions and whether you've got the time to actually go out and exercise. Now, in a sense, that's an example of a slightly active job, but yet when you look at the number of policemen who have cardiac problems, it's off the charts. It's frightening almost.
It is.
What's going wrong?
At the onset, I will agree with Deepika. She said sleep is very important, and it is a huge luxury for policemen to have so much of sleep. I mean, I wish every policeman could have that much sleep to begin with. And then I also object to your statement saying slightly active. It is very, very active. And people in Mumbai especially, they take so much of time traveling to their workplace and going back that they are hardly left with any time for themselves. And therefore what she said, at your workplace, take opportunities to climb your staircases, do your odd jobs yourself, you know, like getting a glass of water. You don't need somebody else to, you get up, you just shed your inertia, move, and keep thinking fitness, you know.
There's a saying now,
keep thinking about fitness.
Sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah, it is highly sedentary.
It's like having
all of us should be walking over here right now.
Yeah, you should all stand up and start.
I think we should do this. The whole
That's an
press
excellent
conference.
idea.
Yeah, we
You know
should be
that
standing.
if you are to, the comment is, if you sit for 2 hours, it's like smoking a pack of cigarettes. And if you're in a flight for 8 hours, which he's been, it's like smoking
Actually,
a carton of cigarettes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is
Is
also
it that bad?
true? Is it also true that you burn 1 calorie a minute by just standing? I've read this somewhere.
Yeah,
So I think we should all stand.
Yeah,
Let's stand. All of us.
Actually, Dr. Sen, let me get you in on a couple of these rather interesting points that are being made. A, if these are active professions, I mean, a policeman is standing, he's walking, he's out there all the time. Why then are so many of them having cardiac problems?
No, see, because exercise and exertion are two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, he is getting exerted, you know, a lot of stress in his work, and it is not correct to think that if you are exerting in your job, then you are exercising. Exercise should give you more enthusiasm, more energy, more happiness. Absence of disease is not health.
Yes,
Health is more than absence of disease.
there's
You
this
need,
issue about cardiovascular fitness as well,
Yeah.
which only comes in what Pranay said, that you exercise, build up your heart rate, maintain it. You can exercise for 3 hours, but that's not cardiovascular fitness. That make you lose weight, but may not necessarily get you cardiovascular fitness.
But of course, the theories also change every year, which is slightly, bemusing. There was a time when if you're having fat, that's terrible. It's awful. That's the worst thing you can do. Now it's if you're having carbohydrates, that's awful. So in a sense, medical theory also changes, which confuses all of us. Other than the fact that, as Deepika said, exercise, keep exercising. That no one doubts.
Absolutely, that's everybody agrees to
There
that.
is one bottom line, that whatever fashions come and go, you must understand in medicine and in any sciences, what you don't know is far more than what you know. I mean, what you don't know is far more than what you know. And these fashions keep changing, but the bottom line is, age-old, centuries proven lifestyles we are destroying too rapidly. If we just, all this reinvention of our own old Indian lifestyle, I think that is a prescription.
So I think, a lot of what we're going to be doing as part of this entire campaign is really getting some of that information to you, because theories change, knowledge changes, what should you do, what should you not do. Sometimes there are a lot of myths around. I was once assured by somebody, absolutely assured by somebody at a dhaba once, that aloo ka parathas with lots and lots of desi ghee is the best thing possible for the heart. Now,
I agree.
Deepika, hang on, what were you saying? You agree with that?
I agree.
See, a good mind keeps a healthy body, and a good paratha keeps a good mind.
Okay, so there you are. So, we're going to have to dive into all of this, as you can see, in some detail, to really come down to...
is a matter of heart.
So we've all agreed that we should exercise. The rest of it we're probably still needing to figure out. Now, it's a great pleasure. We're now being joined by Dr. Harshvardhan, who's the Minister for Health and Family Welfare. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really a privilege that you're joining us for this. Just wanted to get the government's perspective on how important it is to really get health awareness out in the country. A lot of people don't really have that awareness about what they need to do to stay healthy.
It is essential for every government and the non-government people to make sure that everyone in this country is taught thoroughly, extensively, continuously, with lot of conviction, that one can prevent diseases from attacking an individual by the changes in lifestyle, by changing small things in life, and by making sure that small positive health messages are propagated through all possible mechanisms available.
Right, sir. So, you know, what we are trying to do out here is essentially a health campaign which is going to be spreading both awareness and training. So, as part of what we're going to be talking about right now is how do people, for example, perform CPR. That's one of the things that's going to be coming. So, how important do you think it is to actually have health campaigns like this in spreading awareness and training?
You see, any disease elimination program, any disease eradication program, any disease control program can only be taken forward with the help of a campaign, because everything is associated with knowledge and information. Even if you have to prevent maternal mortality, you have to educate your mothers to go to the health facility for ensuring their institutionalized checkup, institutionalized delivery, or ensuring that they have their proper antenatal care, they have information, right information about their diet, about the tetanus injection, about many other things, then the vaccines that they have to give to their children. Similar is true for the child mortality, or for that matter any disease prevention process has to succeed if people are given ample information about its prevention, whether it is the vector-borne diseases, whether it is the non-communicable diseases, whether it is the communicable diseases, or anything else in health. Everything needs thorough information, and information is knowledge, and knowledge means that you can keep yourself healthy, you can keep the diseases away from you.
Dr. Harshvardhan, thank you very much. It's an honor to have you with us. Just wanted to ask you, the focus of the government tends to be a lot on cure and on treating people who have already fallen sick. But as we've just heard, the answer to a healthy nation is prevention. So how does the government get into prevention in imaginative ways, so you don't have to cure and have to treat so many ill people?
In the new program that we are developing, that is the National Health Assurance Mission, we have few components, out of which the first most important component is an assured package of preventive and positive health education to everybody, information to everybody, and of course 50 essential medicines which will take care of 95% of the illnesses, and then of course the a set of diagnostic procedures, then some sort of essential assured services at the health facilities. So we are not going to forget prevention and positive health attitude development at any stage. I want each and every countryman to change his lifestyle, start walking a little bit, do some yoga, do some physical exercise, take some nutritious food, avoid alcohol, avoid smoking, go to bed early, get up early in the morning. Small things and can actually change not only the lifestyle, but that they can change your health, they can make you much more healthy.
Right. Dr. Harshvardhan, across the world and also now increasingly in India, especially in urban India, where once upon a time the big concern used to be infectious diseases and things like that, now increasingly it's things like fast food and fast life culture. Many people are saying that this is now becoming one of the great health hazards in urban India, and it's also directly related to the increase in heart ailments that we are seeing. How do we fight this?
We have to start everything at the school level. We have to make sure that the education departments, they not only are concerned about the academic educational part of getting the course completed, and then the person getting a pass percentage and then getting on to the next class. They also have to make sure that the children, they develop good values, they develop good healthy habits, their food habits are good, and apart from this, it has to go into the colleges also, youth, wherever they are. They have to be involved in developing a strong movement. And I would suggest that eating good healthy food, it should become a sign of modern tendencies. rather than eating junk food or the fast food, whatever you call. That fast food is not modern. Today modern is what is healthy, and that's the trend in the West also.
All right, Dr. Harshvardhan, it's such a pleasure to hear from you and to listen to you, and we wish you all possible support from all of our sides in whatever we can do to actually. Shivinder?
We're also involved in schools and educating young kids on
Actually,
health.
as Fortis across the country, we actually engage with 3,000 schools. That's almost about 3 million kids on exactly what he just said. To actually go to the level where the child actually gets it in his DNA. And I think one of the most powerful things, Vikram, that I think would happen in your case if we had not had this conversation, is that when the child gets it in his head, he actually convinces the parents as well. And I've seen so many cases where children actually go up to people and say, don't smoke. Because it's going to kill you, and that innocence actually is mind-blowing, and it actually makes a change at the homes as well. So it's a very, very powerful tool, and I think we must do more and more of that.
Deepika, in your home, who does the pushing for more and more exercise? You or your dad?
Dad.
No, I think we're all four of us.
Daughters are the problem, dads are the answer.
No, yeah. All four of us are very, very health conscious, and I think...
Right, let's now go back to the big launch of the NDTV-Fortis Health4U Campaign.
Across this nation, breadth and width.
Can I just elaborate on some very important aspects of this bystander CPR, as we call it? Is the fact that if we understand that 15 lakh heart attacks occur in a year, and a third of those heart attacks which are occurring in India are actually 25 to 30% are actually dying before they get to the hospital. We know that across the world, cities have actually created this campaign where they actually train, practically get everybody trained onto CPR. And bystander CPR, which means me or you or anybody in a mall suddenly collapses and the next bystander starts saving him, actually increases that death rate or saving rate by 50%. So 50% of the people can be saved. Now look at the magnitude of what everybody sitting here can actually deliver to saving lives. So it is a clear situation where school children, anyway, personnel in the police and other societies should know. But I'm now talking about even school children being able to go back to their parents and say, I've learned basic CPR, and why don't you actually also learn it so that we can save lives? And you probably recall this very fact that there was a doctor who was flying in a plane. He had a cardiac arrest. I remember it was 2 years ago. This was a Kolkata to Chennai flight, and he was saved by another doctor who actually rushed to save him. There was this footballer in the midfield in London. He was playing the game, where suddenly there was a doctor who darted from the stands and actually saved him, and the guy lived after that.
But you're saying that this is a technique that everyone can learn.
Absolutely.
Everyone can learn, and everyone should learn, because tomorrow there could be somebody, some friend of yours, member of the family, who could be saved. Pranoy, this is something that in this campaign we would really like to do, is to try and give that training, because it's not that difficult to learn.
Yeah, that's just the sort of thing that this will focus on. What are the key little things in life that you can do for others and for yourself to keep fit and avoid a heart attack? And as Shivinder was just saying to me, you don't have to go to a gym. As Deepika was saying, you know, there are so many things you can do on your own, walking, yoga, exercising, whatever. You don't have to go to a gym. A gym is always a plus, but it's not. It's a top-up. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Fansakar, this is something the police is also thinking of, right? Of actually having camps where everyone can be trained in CPR?
We have been training our personnel, especially the traffic police personnel, because the traffic police is out there on the road constantly. And if at all something happens, it is the normal tendency of our people to rush to a policeman first. Even if somebody else in the crowd is aware and able to do something, he won't take the responsibility as such. And therefore it is all the more imperative for our people to be trained, our personnel to be trained. But I would like to submit over here that even hospital personnel, who are not doctors, need to be trained. Because the first person to be encountered, if a person is rushed in the hospital, need not be a nurse or a doctor. It could be a ward boy, it could be anyone.
Basic example I'll tell you for police or the people on the road. You have seen on the footage so many times there is a violence, there is some collapse. and the people who are injured, you would see even policemen or even knowledgeable people catching them with hands and legs, bent like that and carrying. If there is a spinal fracture, you would as well twist and break the spinal cord and paralyze this guy whole life. You're not supposed to do that. But every time I see a footage of a violence, you will see this. Everybody carrying them like that. So starting from there to finer levels.
And basic life support is very simple to learn. And I think it's
Marvin, this life, actually, the teaching of simple basic life support and life-saving skills is something which actually all schools should be doing.
All schools, all organizations, any institution can do that. And I think the multiplier that you will have will be absolutely phenomenal.
Deepika, you're going to get lessons just after this?
I was just going to say, I'd like to learn. I'd like to learn.
Shivinder volunteers?
When I come back to Bangalore. Okay, done.
In fact, you could be the biggest messenger for this. It's so simple to transfer across that it has a multiplier effect.
Absolutely. I would love to.
We're going to hold you to that. We're going to get you to learn this, and then that becomes.
Yes, please. I want to.
All right.
I want to add a mindset issue to this as well, because like Sir was saying, CPR sounds and people believe it to be something that a professional is supposed to do.
Absolutely.
So like he said, ward boys and stuff like that in a hospital. The point is, if citizens understand that a citizen is trained and can do it, it's a life skill. It's not a clinical skill. It's not a technical skill. It actually goes a long way. So I think one of the things that we should encourage through this program is for people to understand that a CPR can be done by any individual. It's not a doctor or somebody like that, or a policeman. So I would say, first aid is seen differently. I would actually call it citizen aid more than first aid. That every citizen must know how to aid another citizen. And actually coined a citizen aid as a term to say every citizen must know that you can save a life.
And we are actually proud that you are expecting policemen to do CPR and save, but it could extend to the entire organized sector. I mean, a bank may have 50,000 employees as well. And everyone,
Somebody just said policemen are meant to give people heart attacks.
I thought these days, Prannoy, it was more the media than the police.
Sometimes they need to also.
So I guess, are you going to be learning the CPR as well?
Absolutely. Just after this, we're all going to learn. So that's a simple sort of a thing which everybody should learn. Each and every one of you should learn what to do if somebody suddenly has a heart attack or collapses in front of you. It's not that difficult to learn. And if you do it, you can save lives, perhaps including in your own family.
Can I just say that the motto should be, let's make India heart safe. That's what it is. Let's make Mumbai heart safe, let's make Delhi heart safe, let's make India heart safe.
And one of the things that we're going to be doing in this campaign is we are going to be having actual camps, CPR camps, where we're going to be training people in all corners of the country. So, we'll flash them for you and do come along for any of them if you get the chance. I just want to move on a bit and now start coming to some of the people we have out here. First of all, on the question of India being a risky country specifically for heart disease. Now, we quite often hear that Indians have got some sort of a gene. There's a genetic predisposition to heart ailments. Is that the case? Why don't you take it?
It is the case, but it's partially the case. And I think that we all have to consider ourselves as loaded guns. We are genetically predisposed. And that's been seen because Indians who've lived for generations in United States, or for that matter in West Indies, have still got a higher incidence of heart disease compared to the local population, despite the similar incidence of diabetes or raised cholesterol and smoking. There's also therefore this very factor which has transferred over years, that those of us who will then add on other factors like smoking or like a family history will suddenly actually be like a loaded gun which fires and gets us heart disease. So that's very clear. But more recently what's actually come, that the growth of heart disease in the last 30 years has been like 300% in the last 30 years. Deaths from heart disease in India are rising, deaths from heart disease in the Western world are falling. We are 3 times more prone than Americans to have coronary artery disease, 5 times more prone than Chinese, 20 times more prone than Japanese. So we actually are all that, but lifestyle in the last 30 years has contributed to 85% of the increase rather than genetics alone. And that's, I think, what's important to understand.
So I want to come now to the first row of the audience and really get many of the stories from out there, which I think illustrates a lot of what we're actually saying. So, Kirti Parashar, Varun, I start with you. Now, you, in a sense, went through a heart transplant. There's a history, and again, that genetic factor is something that causes concern in your family.
There is.
Yeah, you want to just... So what exactly is the genetic factor?
Well, I had restrictive cardiomyopathy, and where the muscles of the heart die away. So you can't do a heart bypass or anything. Dr. Seth was my doctor also. And it was suggested that I had to have a heart transplant if to prolong my life.
So then that also led to further testing, and your daughter sitting next to you, you also went through testing, right? Anika, let me just ask you.
Yes,
and
actually
you don't have the gene?
No, I don't.
Your brother does though?
There are members of our family that have the gene, yes.
But is that something that, I mean, I'm also curious whether that is the sort of a testing is something that is a good idea or a bad idea, or what made you think of going for that testing?
Well, because our family, my mother is one of 4 sisters, 2 of whom have had heart transplants. It's also spread amongst our extended family because there are members of the family that we found over the last few years who've had heart transplants or need them. So it is a congenital condition in our family. We suspect my grandfather died of the same disease because at that time there was no cure. They weren't doing transplants. So that's the reason why we all got tested, our generation, and the next generation we still have to test as well, my children and so on.
Okay, why don't I get Avinash, who's sitting next to you. So Avinash, in your case, you had heart problems when you were a child.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that, sorry, what was the problem?
Actually, problem was
Welcome back. Let's now return to Mumbai for the big launch of the NDTV-Fortis Health4U campaign.
2-3 साल तक भागा, कुछ मतलब ट्रीटमेंट बराबर नहीं हुआ. फिर मैं फोर्टिस में गया. वहाँ पे सर ने उसका ट्रीटमेंट एकदम अच्छी तरह से कर रहा है. अभी एकदम बेहतर है. अभी भाग सकती है, खेल सकती है सब. बोलेगी सर के लिए कुछ?
क्या कहना है? अब भाग दौड़ सकती हो?
हाँ.
कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है?
वो बोल रहा दीपिका मैम मुझे पहली बार देखा, मुझे अफसोस हो रहा है.
Okay. That's come, Deepika, she wants to meet you. That's great. So let me just come to you on this. Why is it that so many of are the cases increasing, or are they just coming to the fore more with
both.
children?
It's both. Our technology, our affordability of technology has improved, so unmasking is better. But apart from that, in all the developing nations, there is an epidemic. And this epidemic is because, unlike the developed nations, our transition has been too rapid. And the sudden transition to urbanization, sudden transition to change of lifestyle and stresses, what has happened is a centuries proved old lifestyle we have broken down very fast. Cheap oil, preserved fast food, which is high in calorie, low in nutritional value, micronutrients, low in fiber. This is creating more obesity, more blood pressure, more diabetes, and this is across all the developing nations. Okay. Then if you come to the poor in the developing nations, the Framingham scoring system shows that the poor actually have worse scores, and it is again the same reasons. And what happens in the transition like ours, that we get affluence and we want to indulge. That didn't happen that dramatically in the developing nations. And if you discount the socialized economy in the developing, then the gap is too wide.
All right. Dr. Agarwal, just coming to you on the basic issue of the number of cases that we are seeing. Are these more for a particular reason, or is it just that you're being able to now get to the crux of the issue?
Well, as ma'am said correctly, about 2 lakh children are born in India every year with congenital heart disease. And it's a shame that only 20 to 30,000 operations are done all over India. You know, the incidence of congenital heart disease is actually far more common than Down syndrome, which is widely publicized.
Okay.
Celebrities have cancers, they have ischemic heart disease, undergo bypass, and there's a great amount of awareness. But this is a very, very common problem which has actually not been publicized so far. Imagine you could have a potentially cure for these children here, and you have 1,60,000 or 1,70,000 children, not getting operated here.
Vikram, I just want, these are just such heartening examples and you feel so good listening to them, but I want to go on a bit of a tangent. We know at the moment in Kashmir, they're going through a terrible traumatic experience. And we talk about prevention and what's going to happen now after the flood waters recede. You're going to have to prevent disease from coming in. So I would like to ask Fortis to commit something to... Deepika, why don't you ask them? They listen to you. Ask them to commit and open up medical camps.
Even before you ask it.
I was just going to say, I don't think we need to ask. I think they will extend that even without asking.
They'll double it if you ask.
Malvinder, why don't you talk about...
I think, you know, we, through the Fortis Foundation, have a disaster relief project called Seva. And we've been very active in many of these unfortunate instances that have happened in India, whether it is the floods in Bihar, in Leh, in Uttarakhand. And we already have ready 200 volunteers through the Fortis Foundation across our hospitals who are ready to go to J&K. We are awaiting instructions from the government.
You're already planned that.
Already ready.
That's great to hear.
They're going to be carrying a whole host of free medical supplies, free essential requirements like blankets, tents, clothes, a whole host of stuff. We have done this in the past. We have the experience and understanding, and I would certainly urge everybody, institutions, companies, individuals, to give this critical issue in J&K, which is a natural calamity, which is unfortunate. But I think each of us as citizens, as individuals, must go out and do our best. And if there's anything you want to engage with us or with any other institutions, please do that, because the people there are suffering. We personally as a family know people who are there, who've been stuck, some who got back last night. And the stories and experiences you hear are really, really sad.
Deepika, really important for us, I think, to now start figuring out what can be done in
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I request everyone who's even watching this to make your little contribution. Nothing is too little, in whatever way you can. And there's various people, individuals, foundations. I'm sure NDTV is also helping out with the relief. Fortis is already. So in whatever little way you can, I request all of you to make your little contribution in whatever little way you can.
Right. Shivinder, you want to add something, and then let's turn to the press then and ask you if there are any questions.
I think Malvinder mentioned the J&K. Today, right now, the army is in charge. They're not letting any civilian or NGOs come into play. But I think there are many organizations like us who are ready to go and get deployed and do the part that we can do best. But like Malvinder said, we need multitude of agencies to do different roles, because we at the end of the day can do one facet, which is the medical and hygiene, but we can't take care of those, and the magnitude is very, very large.
But medical will be very, very important.
Yeah, of course, without a doubt.
With the kind of water and, you know, when the water recedes, the kind of diseases you will have are going to be quite substantial.
God bless you for doing something.
Pranav, any final thoughts from you? Then let's open it up for questions.
Just have a question.
I want to just take a minute. We've talked a lot about disease. We talked a lot about transplants as an example. I just want to throw some facts just to put it in context. We have 2 million people who have a cardiac problem in the country that die every year. We have 200,000 kids that get born every year with a congenital heart problem. That's 2.2 million people in the country that have a potential cure available. And as we know from the doctors, that most of these are curable. We have 23 million people who work in the private workforce in the country. Even if 10% of this workforce saves one heart a year, we are taken care of. So we're not talking about the guy who comes out of college and gets a job, but the top 10% of this country can take care of one heart a year. And we have people like the Salman Khan Foundation that are doing 500, going up even up to 1,000. Just one man that's tied up and going up to 1,000 hearts. But if everyone takes care of one, just the 10% of our people, we can take care of this problem for good. And therefore, apart from awareness, apart from prevention, apart from early diagnosis, but we also must commit to actually doing something to actually stop the problem, because it's in our hands.
Right. Malvinder, you wanted to add something?
You know, we've heard some amazing stories from a lot of people here in terms of their personal experiences. And I just thought that I'll share one with you as well. I was a very active sportsman on the games field for over 2 hours a day, right through till college. And then when you start working, you know, you just think, you know, everything is work, and you kind of pull yourself and stretch yourself and keep working hard. And as a result, my activity levels went down and the sedentary lifestyle increased. Up until, for a few years in my annual health check, which is due for you, the doctor kept telling me, you need to increase your exercise, you need to change your lifestyle, you need to change your diet. It didn't register to even somebody like me who runs a healthcare business and I have for 20 years. Up until a point in time when he said, look, you're pre-diabetic. And if you don't change your lifestyle, and if you don't do what I've been telling you for 3 years, you're going to get diabetic. And I tell you, when I heard those words, and because I come from a family where we've had some people with diabetes, the penny dropped. And that very day, a day before Diwali, 4 years ago, I changed. I lost 12 kgs. I changed my lifestyle. I changed my diet. It's far more healthier today. Something that my family cribs about, that I'm not allowing them to eat all the good things. And I began exercising regularly. And last month, when I went to see my doctor, he told me you are one of the few cases, because generally pre-diabetes, either you maintain it or it becomes diabetic. Right, doctor? But he says you're one of those few cases who've actually reversed, and today all your levels are normal. And that can only happen because of a conscious effort of changing your lifestyle, of looking after yourself and making sure you focus on prevention. I can assure you, if I can do it, all of you can.
Vikram, there are just 3 points that I think I would like to convey to everyone across this country. And that is, firstly, that we're usually counteractive, not proactive. We never believe that it's going to happen to us. But everybody who watches this would also know that either one of their friends, their relatives, or even somebody in their family has already had heart disease. And it's that close to you in real life as it is. That's important, because we have to be proactive, not counteractive. The second aspect is that nobody realizes that just 40 minutes, and you heard so many people talk about walking, just 40 minutes of brisk walking decreases the chances of having a heart attack by 25%. And that's not done by any tablet till the moment. That is how the magnitude of how easy it is. And I think there's a concept which we got to float, and that's, we talk about environment-friendly workplaces, we talk about green places, the workplaces. We now got to talk about heart-friendly workplaces. We've got to have a certification for heart-friendly workplaces, and employers should put up those certificates proudly in front of their offices, saying this is a heart-friendly place.
I think all of us have almost convinced.
Only one point I want to add in this prevention gamut across for government or public. What we are not giving enough importance is maternal education, and that is the key. Apart from affluence, maternal education is the bottom line.
All right, Deepika, final words for me. I have to go to the gym after this now. I'm convinced.
No, I just wanted to say that everything that we've discussed is a lifestyle change. It's not doing it for a day or two or 1 week or a couple of months. It's an entire lifestyle change. If you have a family, you kind of have to get everybody involved. Your cooks involved. Everyone has to your whole family has to be with you in this, so that everyone in your family and around you, it becomes a lifestyle change. I think the other thing is, I wanted to say that breakfast is one of the most important meals that we just take for granted. Most people don't have a proper breakfast. I think we just ready to run out of the house, drink a glass of milk, sometimes not even that, and the first meal you probably have in the day is your lunch. That's probably the most unhealthy way of being. I think starting your day with a healthy breakfast is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And lastly, since actresses are always accused of being too thin and fitness is completely different, so don't be under that misconception.
All right, so those are all excellent lessons. I hope all of you are converted. I know I am, and so I have to go and I have to exercise and I have to sleep, and ideally both at the same time.
And you have to have a checkup.
If I can manage that.
Eat healthy and do your checkups regularly.
Okay. Eat, exercise and sleep all at the same time. Wonderful idea. All right, so I want to now throw this open. So those are really excellent ideas, and throughout this campaign, we're going to go on getting you specific tips that you can use to make a transformation in your own life. And in addition, we're going to be trying to show you some of the skills that you can use to save other people's lives, such as CPR. So that entire campaign is going to continue to roll out for several months. For the moment, though, I'm going to try and take some questions out here. Who has a question? Yeah, well, in addition to you, so the press, but then first you.
Dr. Pranoy,